Thanks for joining us for Issues and Answers. I'm Ian Boyne. We continue the UDC story today. The CEO, Dr. Damian Graham, is back with us. The last time he told us about a number of interesting things taking place, and he continues to tell us and give us a tour of that journey. We thank you very much for your company. Dr. Graham, good to have you back on the show. We want to start by talking about the plans for Falmouth. What do you intend to do with Falmouth?
Well, Falmouth, like downtown Kingston, has an amazing story. It is a heritage town, and Mr. Thorpe, in the time that he bought the town, had a vision for it to be the place of reckon and commerce for people. So it has a rich Georgian history there. We want to bring it back as a heritage town, and we began work on that with the Port Authority of Jamaica a number of years ago. You would recall that the port itself was built out of the joint initiative between the Port Authority and the UDC. There is now some additional works that are being completed, including streetscape and the 2 new markets that are to be relocated. The work that we're looking at is intervening to separate a little bit more the heritage aspect of the town from the commercial aspect, to ensure that there is enough circulation of the tourists within the town. One of the major complaints that are received by the arrival guests is that they feel a bit choked up. You know, they come off the pier, they walk down the street, they have to turn back around and they're back on the pier. There's a lot of congestion in the town around, and you have to have a lot of port security persons around. We want people to have an emergent experience, and working with the Destination Assurance Council to solve that problem, we're looking at the assets in the town. So one of the assets in the town is space. We have a 50-acre property that is nearby, right there where the Port Authority has control. We're looking at creating an urban center in that space. We're looking at doing designation to incentivize businesses to come and set up shop. We're looking at housing to thin out some of the congestion that is in the town and properly plan and lay out other opportunities such as BPO and employment, so that some of the congestion that happens by virtue of a lot of persons coming as far as from Spanish Town to come to the town on a port day will be reduced, because they will have opportunities of employment that are continuous and ongoing, and they will not have to choke up the services within the town. So we're looking at a number of different things. The government buildings that are situated strewn across the town, we're looking at purpose building a facility for them, and also ensuring that there is ease of access with the tourist visitors, and there's more leisure activity in and around the town to increase circulation, so that the economy of Falmouth can be boosted a little bit more.
Good. And in terms of Montego, what are the plans?
Extraordinary. Since the 1970s, the UDC has been playing a role in Montego Bay. As a matter of fact, if you recall, the beaches that are there are created all the way from the dead end to where the pier is right now, were created out of the efforts of the UDC. And we intend to keep that focus. Catherine Hall is being divested as an entertainment center, and we're looking for persons to come to bid on that and to also participate, to give us a product that the city and Jamaica can be proud of. We have the lands at Rose Hall and Cardiff Hall that we're looking to spur investment into, to bring money into the economy of Montego Bay. In the town itself, it has the 3 beaches, the Closed Harbour Beach, otherwise called Dump Up by some persons, but the Montegonians will begrudge me to ever use that derogative term. Then there is the Walter Fletcher Beach and the Gunpoint Beach. All 3 parcels together total 32 acres. And the Closed Harbour portion is 16 acres. We have a massive project to redevelop the entire 32-acre stretch, with the 16 acres being a park purpose-built for the Montagonians. And the reason why we're going that direction, Ian, is because we've recognized that there's a link between the health of a city and the spaces that it has, the green spaces for social interaction and exercise. It is also linked to issues such as hypertension and obesity.
Yes.
So the Montagonians need to have a space. As a matter of fact, they need approximately 200 acres worth of space. So the 32 that is there is a start. It is not the only space, because there are other play fields and other spaces like that. But a purpose-built space where you have passive and active zones. There can be a civic center. It is how the place is being used now. So we're envisaging improving that and bringing it into a project. The TEF is funding that to the tune of $600 million, and we're very grateful for them for that. They are our biggest supplier of funds to drive the kind of interventions into the tourist areas. We also have funding from 5Cs through the German government, where we're building the groins, and we are in the process of working through funding for the rest of the groin development. And we'll be looking at the rest of the beaches, that is the Walter Fletcher and Gunpoint, to develop those beaches. Protecting the groins, that is a massive part of the work that needs to be done, which is to mitigate the climate change and ensure that there's resilience for the town of Montego Bay. Without those projects happening, then the protection for the town and the hip strip and everything that Montego Bay represents becomes compromised. So we have a lot of work that we're doing in Montego Bay in the short term. In the long term, we have a bigger program over the next 5 years where we're looking at transportation, we're looking at parking, we're looking at other elements of commerce and dealing with some of the social issues alongside JSIF.
So a holistic approach is being taken to city development.
Exactly, redevelopment.
Redevelopment. The CEO of the Urban Development Corporation, Dr. Damian Graham, telling us about the number of interesting things taking place all over the island with which the UDC is involved. He has more to tell us when we come back from the short break.
It's the GIS Heritage Posters and Publications Sale. Come and get your posters and publications from now until October 30 at low, low prices. Packages include books, posters, brochures, Jamaican flags, and more. And if you spend over $1,500, you'll get a prize. For more information, contact the Jamaica Information Services Research and Publications Department by calling 926-359-024 or 926-374-026 or visit them at 58A Halfway Tree Road, Kingston 10. You may also contact our Montego Bay Regional Office by calling 952-6604 or visit them at the NHT Building, 42B2C Union Street, Montego Bay. Run come before them done. Posters and publications available while stocks last.
The Urban Development Corporation is one of the significant public sector institutions in Jamaica. Its CEO, Dr. Damian Graham, is our guest on Issues and Answers. There are also big plans for St. Thomas.
Absolutely. The Prime Minister made an announcement that the Goodyear Oval would be transformed into the place for the urban center of Morant Bay, and asked the UDC to ensure that the master planning for the town was done to prepare for that. And master planning is work that looks at identifying key concepts, layout, and how projects will work and be integrated before you reach a detailed development and execution and implementation. So we have taken on board that work. We're working with the local town planning and looking at the linear planning of Morant Bay, because it is a coastal town. Looking at more than just the 25 acres for the new urban center. We're looking at approximately, again, another 300 to 400 acres, as a sphere of influence around that as well. And tying together the fact that you have a new highway that's going to be running past it. There's going to be housing that is going to be looked at as part of the redevelopment in the area. We need to prepare the town for that. There is a ask for the town to also be designated as a heritage site. So we're working with the JNHT on that and ensuring that as the government buildings are displaced from the town, we don't have a blight
Yes.
that results. So the master planning work that we're carrying out now is in service of ensuring that there is that continuity, and where the social intervention and cultural intervention needs to be made, that it is put in place. We've gone out and we've started putting together the consultative groups, both government and on the ground, to start putting the work in place. And we're committed to doing that at least before October, so that our partners, FCJ, can move ahead with their part of it, which is breaking ground, I'm told, by January of 2018.
Ocherius, which is in need of a lot of redevelopment.
Absolutely.
What are you doing there?
Well, we're doing a lot of work in Ocho Rios. You know, that's the home of SADCO, which is our subsidiary responsible for Duns River attraction. Our Belmont properties are in Ocho Rios, and a number of other assets. The town itself has a 5-year development master plan, which is called the Greater Ocho Rios Development Plan, and it speaks to, again, a number of different projects. Let me just reel them off. On the infrastructure side, we're looking at addressing drainage. You know, there was an incident, I believe it is about 10 years ago or 12 years ago, that there was flooding, and the town suffered tremendously. We were looking at addressing that. So with the NWA, we've looked at getting appropriate drainage done. Some of the road works that are being undertaken by both the UDC and the NWA now are in service of addressing the drainage issues in the town, creating calamity dams to ensure that when there is an event, like a 25-year flood, it does not run all over the town and bring commerce to a halt, or the guest experience, because it is a tourist town, and bring it to a halt. We started a lot of work with PAJ, which continues.
With the Port Authority.
That's correct, the Port Authority. At Fisherman's Cove, we've worked in collaboration, and they're finishing up a project there to have a unique experience where the guests can come and enjoy that traditional fishing village kind of experience, but of course with a bit more refinement to what they're used to traveling through the Caribbean. We have the rest of the walk experience along the promenade, along the beach coming down into Ocho Rios Bay, that is being worked at. Thanks to TEF, we're progressing that, and we're looking to complete it before the winter tourist season begins. That's $180 million. We have another project on Main Street to deal with streetscaping and to increase the guest experience and bring circulation into the town, so that when guests come off the ship, they can walk freely, walk along the shops, get the gastronomy experience, get that immersion experience into the town, and get the vibe and liberty with the people. This is part of the guest feedback that the Destination Assurance Council is working on, and UDC, being a member of that, tuned in and ensure that we have that. So we have that project, another 170 million, that is going to be starting. Again, we want to try and complete that very, very soon into the winter tourist season. We also have the market. The market is an important part of the town, and it needs some attention. We'll be looking at redesigning the entire layout of the market to integrate more of the transportation, pull the traffic from in the front of the market where it is now congested, get the foot circulation into the market, having 2 tiers in the market, dealing with parking on that site. The rest of the parking in the town, we've identified about 6 different parking lots and parking blocks that we'll be creating 1,200 parking spaces for people to be at. In the ORCC, the Ocho Rios Shopping Center, that area will be transformed into a festival marketplace, right, where you can have that gastronomy, again, more parking, and it will access a vista to the sea. The Ocho Rios Bay Beach will be redeveloped as well. We're looking at recreating the jetty that's there, cleaning up the beach, doing dredging in that area, fixing the groin a little bit more. We're also looking at the Artisan Village, which is right beside the Jerk Center, across from Turtle River Park, building out an Artisan Village there, where you have artisans that are now at Pineapple Place, bringing them over into that space. And the minister spoke about that in his delivery. And Minister Ed Bartlett, who is very passionate, will be putting an art institute at the Artisan Village site right there, and we have approximately 170 persons, different crafts and gastronomy will be there. There will be also a business center there. And then at Pineapple Place, where we have the government agencies now located at ORCC, they'll be put there. And you'll have a business incubation center for the youth that are coming out of college, Brownstown, etc., that need to plug into the next level of commerce, interacting with the tourist town, and have incubation of ideas, and also craft and other government services will be in that space.
And the UDC has been doing all of this while increasing its profitability. If we could speak just very briefly on that. The profitability has been increasing.
Definitely. I mean, one of the things I must reward and commend our board, led by Ransford Braham, and of course the previous, my predecessor, is on being very frugal with our planning. The profitability of the corporation has improved, albeit in a way that we want more of a cash liquidity position. But
what you're moving from, give us an idea.
We were in the region of $500 million off track in terms of our profit position. And
in the red?
In the red.
$500 million?
$500 million.
And you moved to what now?
And we are happy to say that in the unaudited statements that finished in March, we were at about $430 million net profit. Of course, those have not been tabled yet.
Big turnaround.
But it's a big turnaround, and it's commendable for the board to focus on reducing our expenses, ensuring that we get our recovery of monies as quickly as possible.
And you're re-engineering too also.
And re-engineering.
So internally, you're
we're trying
processes.
To change our processes, try to make ourselves more efficient. And I want to assure the public that one of the things, why we try to do this, is, the perception in the past is that the UDC, we have assets and we are a cash cow, we have land, we have this, those are myths, yes? And the UDC going forward wants to earn its keep by selling its services, by fulfilling its mandate, by ensuring that we offer accountability and transparency to the public. And, by doing so, we will have the ability to make a profit, contribute to the consolidated fund, and have monies available to make the development happen as we go forward.
Good. Sounds good. Great to have had you, Dr. Damian Graham, the CEO of the Urban Development Corporation. You see, the UDC is really at work, exciting plans for the future, interesting things being done now as the UDC moves toward its 50th anniversary. We thank you for your company on Issues and Answers. Next week I'll be back. Until then, Ian Bourne wishing you a pleasant day.